Aristotle's success story. You may know him as the master, the Peripatetic, the father of modern philosophy. His name is Aristotle of Stagira. He once said, and I quote, "Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny." And no quote or text of philosophy is ever complete without more than a mention of this man or the other great thinkers of the ancient world. You may have heard the saying that Socrates taught Plato, who taught Aristotle, who taught Alexander the Great. And so the circle of his teachings continues even until today amongst us, whether you know it or not. In today's video, we will look at how Aristotle ascended to become one of the greatest minds of Greek philosophy, to use his life story to inspire young people who may be discouraged about life. We hope this video gives you the courage you need to believe in yourself and pursue your biggest dreams. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Aristotle was born in 384 BC in the village of Stagira, Macedonia, Greece, the son of Nicomachus and Phaestus. His father Nicomachus named him Aristotle, meaning a great purpose. Quite a fitting name for someone who had much to live up to. Or perhaps some would call it too fitting, as Nicomachus had the slightest inkling of how great his son would become. As for Nicomachus, he was a physician who served King Amyntas III in the Macedonian royal court. King Amyntas would raise Philip II, who in turn would raise Alexander the Great. As the son of an aristocratic family with the influence of the royal court, Aristotle had the privilege of private tutoring, which included lessons from his father, who trained him in the ways of medicine. Perhaps in a way, Nicomachus sought to groom his son to take his place at the Macedonian royal court, or more possibly pass his medical skills from father to son. Oh, but if only he lived to see that come to fruition. Aristotle was 10 when Nicomachus died. The unfortunate event left Aristotle bereft of guidance, but both morally and emotionally. Luckily, Aristotle's uncle and older sister's husband, Proxy Nurse of Artenius, stepped up to the plate and set a steady hand on Aristotle's shoulder. However, as Aristotle grew, even Proxy Nurse came to realize there was one area he could not impart upon him: a sound education. When Aristotle was 17, Proxy Nurse sent him northwest to the outskirts of Athens, where the best and brightest minds studied at the site known as Plato's Academy, under the guidance of the great philosopher himself, Plato. Plato had founded this academy in the 380s BC. Of course, it was less of a school or college and more of a gathering of intellectuals who sought to explore the fields of mathematics, science, philosophy, and astronomy. Hardly a place for the common Athenian folk. But then Aristotle was anything but common, for soon even the Athenians would come to know him as one of Plato's best students, if not the best. As for Aristotle himself, he was a dedicated student. For some people, it might be hard to imagine devoting not 5, not 10, but 20 years of one's life studying under a teacher. It must seem like a lifetime, no doubt. But Aristotle found this investment a small price to pay to achieve enlightenment. Besides, it allowed him to befriend the likes of Xenocrates and King Hermias of Athens. However, for all of Aristotle's respect for Plato and his teachings, there were certain issues he could not agree with. Often, Aristotle would openly confront his master about them. First and foremost, the most significant of these issues was Plato's theories of form. Both men did not agree that form was an object appeared to be, as opposed to what it consisted of. So the question was, how can then one view the world? Plato believed the only reality is our thoughts, and that we cannot trust the world around us with our senses. He therefore advised to know the world only through experiments. On the other hand, Aristotle believed reality is what is around us, and that we should use our senses to experience and explore as much as we can. He advised knowing the world through observation and physical experiment of what is and why it is. Another of their differences was on ethics. The root of these arguments was about happiness, not the kind where an individual achieves short-term pleasure from their actions, but about the good kind of life an individual could live. So, the question was, how then can one live a happy life? Plato believed we could live a happy life if we embraced knowledge. He believed knowledge was a virtue, and virtue alone was sufficient for happiness. In other words, to know good is to do good. So Plato concluded that if knowledge was taught to others, they too will do good and therefore live happier lives. Aristotle begged to differ. While he agreed virtue was necessary for happiness, he did not guarantee it. After all, who knows what good is would guarantee happiness. So Aristotle concluded that the happy life was a product of acting virtuous, not just being automatically virtuous, which was a product of habit, time, and effort. There were several more of Plato's philosophical views that Aristotle found too difficult or too idealistic to reason, let alone accept. And after the death of his master in 347 BC, Aristotle turned down the position as the Academy director and left. He spent some time with his companions Xenocrates and Theophrastus. Exploring the islands of Lesbos in Asia Minor and gathering data of the island's fauna and fauna through systemic observation. Aristotle often wondered why certain plants and animals thrived in certain regions and why others didn't. From his pondering and observations, it is believed Aristotle made his notes, which would serve as the foundation of zoology and botany today. It wasn't long before Aristotle's old friend, King Hermias of Artenius, learned of his predicament and persuaded him to join his royal court. During this period, Aristotle married King Hermias' niece, Pythis, who would bear him a daughter and whom Aristotle would name after his mother, Pythis. Unfortunately, his wife died a few years after that. So would King Hermias, and Aristotle would have no choice but to return to Macedonia. The year was 343 BC. King Philip II of Macedonia, on learning of Aristotle's reputation as Plato's best student and advisor to the late King Hermias, summoned him to become the tutor of his young son, Alexander the Great. In 336 BC, King Philip II died, allowing Alexander to ascend the Macedonian throne. It was he who conquered Athens. Moreover, it is believed that it was Aristotle who advised the young king to conquer the eastern lands. Having nothing left to teach the young king who had come of age, Aristotle returned to Athens. During this period, he married his second wife, Peripatetic of Stagira, who gave birth to their only son, Nicomachus, who would help Aristotle write on the Nicomachean Ethics in later years. Since Aristotle wanted nothing to do with Plato's Academy whatsoever, he started his school in Athens in 335 BC. He called this school the Lyceum, where he would spend the next 12 years or so teaching a variety of courses as well as writing many of his works, including politics, poetics, the Nicomachean Ethics, metaphysics, rhetoric, and logic. When Alexander the Great died in 323 BC, Athenians overthrew the Macedonian government. They called for Aristotle's head, given his association with his deceased former student and the Macedonian court. Aristotle fled to Chalcis on the island of Euboea, where he died in 322 BC. His was a life of dedication and steadfastness to the path that he believed in. Without these attributes, Aristotle would not have become successful in his endeavors. Thank you very much for watching our videos. We'll like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.